right, thank you for staying with Daybreak. The State of the Nation discussion starts right now. My guests are already with me here in studio. Honorable Eddie Okech, Senator for Migori, thank you for making time. Honorable Joe Nyutu, Senator for Murang'a, thank you for making time. And Willis Otieno, Deputy Party Leader, Safena, asante sana for making time. Gentlemen, we have a lot to discuss. We'll talk about cleaning up the voter register, MCAs demanding a 700% pay rise. President William Ruto is set to visit Mount Kenya in April for the next 1 week. This is the first visit that will happen after the impeachment of former Deputy President Rigathi Gachagua, and Raila's message on standing with the President, William Ruto, during iftar. But let's start off with the dailies. And the front page of the Standard, this is what they're leading with. Pain, suffering and fury. More than 1 million teachers, police and their dependents have been left to their own devices after hospitals refuse to treat them on government insurance. The service providers say that the Social Health Authority is yet to pay debts and have no option but to shut their doors on the officers, tutors and their families during their time of need if they cannot pay cash for the treatment. Willis, what is the best way of dealing with this SHA hiccups? This is not the first time we're having this discussion, but it keeps coming up. So what is the best way of dealing with this SHA hiccups? The
only response to this SHA nonsense is to scrap it. And we go to that which was working and find out what was the challenges that we had with NHIF. But it is important that we understand what is truly the pain of Kenya. Why is the government trying to shrink away from its responsibility to provide comprehensive healthcare services to its people? And to understand it, I refer every Kenyan to the statement of actuals, revenue and expenditure issued by the National Treasury on the 28th of February 2025. Gazette Notice number 3335. And it indicated that in the month of February, Kenya government collected revenue of 152 billion. In the same period, Kenya government paid debt finance of 156 billion. Now it tells you that for the whole of that month, every single coin that the Kenyan people paid to carry went into debt finance, and we still had a deficit of 4 billion, for which they decided to illegally go to the market and borrow 148 billion. It tells you that this administration has mismanaged the economy to an extent that any social intervention they're supposed to undertake, they are trying to shrink the responsibility back to the people. So that which the administration was supposed to do before, they send it back to you. These are the haircuts that my party leader Jimmy Wanjigi talked about. So in the health sector, they want you to be the one to meet the cost of your health care. Even if you paid, you're even up to date on the SHA system. In terms of remittance to facilities, they don't remit to facilities. The money is going to other people's pockets. You're running a very bloated system that the operating system alone is costing you over 104 billion Kenya shillings that goes to private individuals. And yet you saw the CS Health talk about NHIF was done away with because the debts of accumulated of up to 30 billion. If you could afford 104 billion shillings on setting up a system, and your debts of the previous provider was only 30 billion, then you had enough money to clean it. But all this is just a sham that is meant to steal from the people of Kenya.
Okay. Joe, is it fair or even logical to call for the scrapping of SHA and bring back what allegedly was working according to Willis, which is NHIF, whereas we know that the burden of debt that is being borne by SHA right now is as a precursor from NHIF? It's NHIF that got us where we are. So is it right to call for the scrapping off of SHA and reverting to what was working, which is NHIF?
Well, Trevor, my position is that if you have a problem, you have a wound, for example, in your leg, that you do not cut off your leg. You treat the particular ailment in your leg. And I think right from the outset, it was not the right, I mean, scrapping NHIF and introducing SHA was not the right thing to do. I mean, like we keep saying, we should have looked at the problems that were there with NHIF and, of course, sought solutions for them, for those problems. So what happened is that most of the problems that people have are also to do with the transition from NHIF to SHA. And I think what should have been done was to actually improve on NHIF. But now that we are here, we may not scrap SHA, but government needs to be very fast, to act very fast to solve the problems that we have, and what maybe can be done in the interim, because we should not keep talking about the debts that we inherited, that SHA inherited from NHIF. What should happen now is let SHA disburse for now the claims. We can start with the fresh claims that are made, that have accrued since SHA came into being. And then we look at the problem of the debts that the NHIF owed these health facilities later. And we come up with a plan of paying the health facilities the debts that were accrued by NHIF. Otherwise, for now, what I think should be done is let SHA pay the fresh claims. Let it not hide behind the debts that it inherited from NHIF. Are they paying current claims? That, for me, should be the question. Okay. Because if they were, then health facilities would enter into an agreement with them that let's agree that every claim that we place with you regarding or relating to the period in which you have been under operation will be paid by you. And then we enter into a payment plan about what the liabilities that you inherited from NHIF. Yeah. We cannot keep saying that SHA is not paying because it inherited debts from NHIF. Let it pay what is accruing now, what is arising now, and then we talk about that 1 billion inherited from NHIF.
But even that, they say there's a challenge because about less than 4 million people are the ones contributing out of more than 18 million who are registered. But Eddie, what is the lasting solution for this SHA hiccups? What do we do now?
Trevor, good morning.
Good morning.
And good morning to my fellow panelists. The issue of SHA is fundamentally an issue of claims that are not being honored, because for the different groups of teachers and police organizations, we do have a second party, if I may, that is then to provide the claims and to provide that cover. For instance, we know that Minet, which actually used to even cover us in Parliament when we got first into Parliament, was one of the service providers that is covering a number of, some of these public servants. And then we also have APA insurance that covers the police more in general, after they took up from CIC insurance. But the problem, I don't think that the problem of claims is just a problem of general government lack of cash flow. I think that there's also an overarching problem of corruption, which is what we must deal with. And we have been moving targets about these corruption issues because, when you look at what used to happen in NHIF was run by contribution of those who registered. And just the same way, you can't say right now that in something like the road maintenance levy, it cannot run dry because it's a levy, right? Healthcare in this country has become a levy as well. Everybody contributes to SHA. So this is money that actually comes, that does not depend on the functional national debt stock that comes in. It depends on levy that is put on people. And you remember that what used to happen with NHIF is that once NHIF collected money from those who subscribe in it, NHIF then used to actually mortgage that money into the money market, because they would get a lot of money, and if their claims are not sufficient enough to uptake all the amount of money, then it would go without saying that then that money will be put in some security form to bring about some more money, so that when claims are coming at large, then they can be able to take care of the problem that is there. But you see right now, what is happening is that in between that transition, there hasn't been that effective transition of the resources that were there in the NHIF. For instance, we had about 25 billion in positive stock of what NHIF used to have, right? And when SHA was transitioning, that 25 billion somehow got lost somewhere, right? And these are issues of corruption. And those corruption, we hear them around the issues of the system that was procured at that time, so that the organizations that are supposed to, remit these resources to the people is a problem. So I don't think that the issue is going back to NHIF. I think that the issue is actually dealing with the implementation of SHA the way it is, but dealing with the corruption that are happening within the nexus of transition.
Okay.
Because that has been the burden of the nation currently, to the extent that SHA is not effective in terms of actually making sure that it honors claims to the third parties that are involved.
Okay. Willis, how is the solution going back to something that got us here in the first place?
As I'm telling you, if you asked Kenyans in their numbers, in terms of impact and assistance in healthcare provision, NHIF was working for Kenyans. What the political establishment identified was that there were challenges. And as Newto says, if there were challenges, you don't kill the entire structure that you've set up. You are, in a very precise manner, deal with those challenges and make the system work. But compared to SHA, at the outset alone, SHA becomes a monumental haste on the people of Kenya. Because just on the setup, you are talking of 104 billion Kenya shillings given to a private entity that owns the copyrights and owns the entire infrastructure. I believe NHIF was running on a system. It was not worth 104 billion. I believe even Safaricom's own system that manages our M-Pesa and all those other transactions is not worth 104 billion in terms of setup alone. Even if you went to Silicon Valley, the best that they have on IT infrastructure, you will not find just a system that is worth that much. So if we were intending to deal with the objective, what is the objective of this intervention? It was to provide quality healthcare services at an affordable cost to the people of Kenya. At that outset, you are killing the objective. It seems the objective of Kenya Kwanza was to steal from the people of Kenya, and the first theft was 104 billion in setting up that system.
Okay.
They were not intending to come up with a system that is meant to address the ultimate objective of a comprehensive quality healthcare system that is affordable to the people.
All right, I'll take a quick break here. When we come back, we continue with our topics. There's a lot that we need to discuss. This is coming up after the break. We'd like to hear from you by that Trevor Mbija at Citizen TV Kenya. Use the hashtag Daybreak. When you come back, talk about cleaning up the voter register. MCAs are demanding 700% pay rise in this amount. Kenya trip coming up for President William Ruto. This coming at a time when Raila Odinga spoke yesterday at an iftar meeting, and we'll tell you what he said in just a short while.